And we are live. Hey, Concrete.
Hey, Danny. What's good? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday and Happy New Year. Did I talk to you before the New Year? I think I did. I don't know.
Yeah, we talked actually, but we haven't seen the gang. Happy New Year to the folks.
Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you guys had a good time. Hopefully, everybody was safe.
Right.
Um, this was probably one of the most quietest New Year's that I've ever spent. But very lovely all the same. I really, really, really enjoyed myself. It's a good start. How about you?
My New Year's Eve was really quiet, but that's how I like it, so I wasn't mad at it. Probably would have did a little bit more had we not been dealing with Rona. But it was a chill New Year's Eve. Went out to dinner, had a really nice dinner, and then just came back home and chilled with my bae. Had us some drinks and some little snacks and stuff, and just
Girl,
kind
wait
of
a minute.
chilled
You
out.
was drinking some Hennessy?
No, baby, a little bit of wine. Not even a half a glass, a third of a glass of wine. That was it for
Oh,
me.
I thought you
No,
had finally
uh,
got on a Hennessy route, honey. I had got excited. Like, oh,
listen,
Concrete finally had us some Hennessy from the bottle, honey. Ooh.
baby, you don't ever have to worry about that. I'm talking about ever. I do
Concrete,
not
I
drink
need you
motor
to
oil.
stop hating on Hennessy, honey. I
Hennessy is
need you to
like
do
motor
that.
oil, baby. I'm not drinking that mess.
Bye. I got to go. I
uh Danny, you better bring your butt back here. Listen, I'm just
You
saying,
got
if I
to stop this Hennessy blasphemy. I cannot. No, ma'am. Don't
I
do
have
that.
to drink something. It's not gonna be Hennessy. That's too strong. Put hair on my chest, baby. I cannot tolerate Hennessy. I tried it one time, and that was
It's so
enough.
strong. You take medicine, don't you, when you get sick?
Yeah, only because I have to. It's not like by choice. I
You know,
can't do
I
no
felt
Hennessy.
when somebody asks, you go to the doctor and they tell you you got to take some nasty medicine and you'll be able to take it. And I'm like, if I can drink Hennessy, I can take anything. So it's not
Pretty
going to be an
accurate.
issue. Yes. And so I'm like, if I can drink tequila, I can
Oh
take
my
whatever
gosh. Okay, but do you
medicine.
drink a chaser with it? You gotta water it down with some Coke or something? Hit it, put it on a
Now now look, Concrete. Now look.
rock? I'm just
Now,
asking.
everything outside of Hennessy, I would say like it depends on the type of tequila. Like if you do like a reposado, reposados are
Hmm.
like your brown tequilas,
Oh,
and
okay.
you're going to use those to basically make your margaritas. I wouldn't recommend drinking that stuff straight,
Hmm.
but those would be like the type of tequilas that you would use for which like your mixing and stuff. And then you like your white tequilas, and I forget the name of them, but they're clear. Your clear tequilas or your white ones,
Hmm.
you would use those for like shots. So you can also use them for mixing, but
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know
yeah,
the difference. I thought they used clear tequila for margaritas too.
they
I didn't
can.
know the
I mean,
difference.
it's not outside of it, but
Okay.
your reposados are generally used for what you call it. Oh God. Shout out to Dan Maurice and Black Wizard. Black Wizard is sinning Sunday over here, honey. We came to keep up a little mess. And it's concrete fault. So
No, 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 no,
uh
no. I'm in the choir with the saints. You sinning. That's how we gonna
what?
do this. Uh huh. Yes, indeed. You know, it's a new year. I'm turning over a new leaf, baby. No
New
sinning
leaf.
for me. No, no sinning for me this year.
Girl, I must be
I'm leaving
talking
that
to
in
the other
2020.
Gemini this morning. Which Gemini am I talking to this
You know
morning,
what?
honey?
I am not dealing with you. I'm not dealing
Baby.
with you. You know my mood is not always consistent. I ain't always cheery, and I own
Exactly.
that. But
So I got the prude this morning.
but
Oh my gosh.
listen,
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna
uh-uh.
clutch my pearls.
Well, listen, I'm a prude all the time, but I
Sure.
I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not always cheery. I'm a prude 99% of the time, but I'm not always cheery.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, you better ask my
Mm-hmm.
fiance. He'll tell you.
The Sage Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, that one.
Sure, sure. I be trying
Well,
to
you
clutch
you
my
know
pearls,
about your
but
sages. Hmm.
I be trying to clutch my pearls, but that shit comes across as so inauthentic. Nobody ever believes like I'm the prude or whatever, or that I can be
Hmm.
prudish. I'll sit up there and clutch my pearls, and they be like, I don't know what the hell you clutching your pearls for. Um,
Oh,
I'd be
I
so mad though. I'd be like, damn it, I'm innocent. But
I
nobody
think
ever
that,
believes
like,
it.
no, seriously, the prudish thing, that's not something that wavers with me. I've been like that since I was like young. Like all my friends, like I would be side eyeing them when they telling me stuff like, "Oh my gosh," and I think that just comes from being like raised so deeply in the church. Like when I was a child, I was like Pentecostal, so certain things you just didn't do nor talk about.
So, did y'all wear pants? Would you ever wear pants to church?
No, you couldn't wear no pants to church. And baby, you bet that skirt better not be an inch above the knee. Because I'm telling you, they coming around there with the prayer cloth, putting it on you. But yeah, it was like real strict. So
Girl, they ain't gonna come put the prayer cloth on
yeah,
your lap,
oh
girl.
listen, you better believe and don't be chewing no gum because they coming right around putting their hand out for you to spit the gum in
Baby,
their hand. Yeah, it
was
was
the
it was
church
something serious.
hot? Was the church hot?
I'm trying to tell you,
And they come
it was.
around with the fans and stuff go
And you couldn't even
with the
wear your
stick on the end.
look, and don't not have on those stockings. I don't care if it's 120 degrees outside. You better have on some stockings or some tights. Listen, they did not play.
Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I think I was like in my mid 20s when I finally stopped wearing pantyhose with
Oh my
church.
gosh, I couldn't wait because they used to itch. I hated them. I was like, this, and I got nice legs. I'm like, I don't want to be bound by these dang on things. I couldn't wait to stop wearing
Girl, my
pantyhose.
mama would be like, you got to start at the foot. Work your way up,
Listen,
honey.
I feel her on that, but no, that's what that come from. Now my mood, like I said, most of the time I'm cheery, but you got like if you catch me on the wrong times, not so much, not
Baby.
so much.
Wait, did you have
But
a type of church where they fall out, like they touch them on the head and everybody
of
get to dance and
course,
then they
man,
oh.
who didn't? Listen,
So
I
did you ever
did.
feel like that was authentic? Because this is the thing that kind of got me with like the speaking in tongue thing,
Hmm.
or the way they would be able to transcend their energy so fast is what kind of made me think that it wasn't authentic.
Hmm.
One minute the preacher, and he kind of going at like a little slow pace, and he's like,
Hmm.
and I called to the Lord
It's
and I
kind of on
said,
cue.
Father. And
Yeah, it's on
everybody starts
cue.
going crazy, like as the what you call it
Listen.
goes on, and everybody starts going crazy,
Right.
and then
The
the preacher
organs,
hits them, and they
they
fall out.
basically, it's kind of like the cue. It's like, he start hitting the organ, the keys on the organ and stuff, and people feel the spirit. But to be completely honest, I don't like to talk about religion in spaces like this because people are so judgmental and just people are try to act like they're of high intellect, and as a result, they don't believe in anything that they can't see. However, I will say this. I recently had a conversation with one of my good friends, and we were talking about religion. Like, I believe, so I believe in the power of the spirit, the power of,
Yeah,
the Holy Ghost, whatever you want to call it. But I do believe that some people would feign falling out. Some people would feign passing out. You know what I mean? Because they
right,
fall out
right,
just so
right.
they can't hit their head. They fall out in the right spaces and things like that. So I do believe that people would fake, but I do think that people could authentically feel the spirit, and it could make you kind of move it semi voluntarily.
Yeah, shout out to DZNUTZ.
Why you ain't
Mm,
say it? Oh, really? Now
mm,
you smelling stuff? Okay.
mm.
Hmm.
He says pantyhose holes are sexy to
Oh, wow.
take off a
What?
woman.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Let me find out you messing around with 55-year-olds, these NUTZ.
Listen, I used to have to go to Walgreens and get my mama the coffee color one, and you could only get the
What?
coffee
Did you get
color one.
coffee or all black chai?
No, she wore
Oh,
the
goodness.
coffee color ones. Her legs was she was lighter, so not light skin, but brown skin. So she
Brown,
wore the coffee
right.
color. Hmm. He
Yes,
said
honey.
pantyhose. Look, you better not go buy you some pantyhose and start playing role play with Brother Curly. Don't do it.
Ma'am. What makes you
Don't
think?
go
Never
play
mind.
church.
Um, ma'am,
Oh my gosh, don't
ma'am,
do it.
girl, I'm extra vanilla.
Yeah, sure. I believe it.
Like I said, nobody ever believes I'm the.
It's
Oh
not
my gosh,
believable,
I
Danny.
can't believe
It's not believable.
I
Um,
see that. That's so
mm-mm.
awful. But damn it. Shout out to Black Wizard. He says you can transcend as fast if you want. I actually believe that. But I guess
Mhm.
the thing that kind of catches me is if and I guess it's just like wanting to be in a certain spirit and stuff like that, but it's always interesting that it's the same ones around the same times every Sunday and it's like clockwork. And so when it's kind of like clockwork, it's just one of those things that um it can come across as a bit inauthentic. And I don't
Mhm.
know.
A
I
little
can't say if
suspicious.
these
A little
people.
suspicious.
Yeah, and I'd be like, sis, every
Mhm.
time, every week, Miss
No, no, we
Johnson.
used to know exactly. We'll be tapping each other like, here she come, here she come.
Right.
Like, she about to do her thing.
Exactly. So I'm always kind of on like, oh, so here she go and
Mm-hmm.
there she goes. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
one of those things. But yeah, I do agree about transcending the energies as fast as you if you want. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it does come across as inauthentic and yeah, sometimes
True.
it does. But
I do have a question for you. Switching gears real quick, just a quick question.
yes, ma'am.
So we finally got out of 2021. Child, that was a doozy. But what are you looking forward to in 2020? What you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to getting married.
Oh, okay.
So
So you moving to Atlanta, so I
I
can
am
really get on
looking
your
forward
nerves.
to moving to the A2. So I
Mm-hmm.
meant to talk to you about this on the last show, but when I was in Atlanta, and I'll be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, I never really liked Atlanta growing up. Every time I would take a trip, so the thought process I kind of had of Atlanta is everybody is kind of who's who. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, do you know who I am? And everybody had like this air. But I'll be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I was in the city.
Yeah.
And
So
so
you'll be a little further out.
yeah, and so everybody's kind of got like, do you know who I am? You see the girls riding around with their starter Benzes and
Ah, you know what? I'm
you
not about to do this with you. I am not.
no, I'm keeping it real. You know
Not
they
the starter.
got
But why
the
you gotta call them a starter, Benz? That's shade. That's shade.
little smidge, little smidge.
Listen, you wrong. But go ahead.
Just riding around in a 1995 Acura Legend and honey looking at me like she that. Yeah,
You
I'm
know
like,
what?
sis,
Listen, them old
sis,
Infinities and old Legends, baby, it
yeah.
still say Legend on the back. You, you better recognize.
Sis looking at me like she
Mm-mm.
that, and and so one thing about me, and it's gotten me in more trouble than what it's worth. Definitely gotten me in more trouble than what it's worth. I have never really let people's money determine who they were, who they were supposed to be in my eyes versus who
Okay.
they were to everybody else. And so it's my self-study, whatever. And so this is something that I learned about myself. I don't really take you as an authority figure until I feel like I think you know what you're talking about. And I could be wrong as
Mm-hmm.
shit. I could be very wrong as shit. But
Mm-hmm.
in my eyes, if you say that you're a billionaire and you have this, that, and the third, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'd be impressed, like to say, like, wow, you're a billionaire, but it doesn't necessarily say a lot to me as far as character wise, like who you are as a person, what you
Oh,
respond
I
to, what
agree.
you react to, what you're
Yeah,
emotional
that don't
about,
mean nothing to me.
yada yada
I
yada.
don't believe in
Um,
people worshiping though. Like I'm not a starstruck person. I've seen so many stars living in Atlanta, and I'm not like a starstruck. I people worship.
yeah, so it's just been kind of one of those things with me. So when I got to Atlanta, growing up, it would be like, oh, so she thinks she's this person. She could be and it's a horrible example because I don't know Teddy Riley's niece, but it'll be like, oh, I'm Teddy Riley's niece, and I'm like, it's Teddy Riley. Ain't
Mhm.
he's that guy, but you ain't shit. You know, I
No,
be thinking
I
like,
hear that type of stuff all the time. Or I
yeah,
have, I have a baby by Lil Wayne's ex road manager type of stuff. Like who?
exactly.
Like I knew a girl that was Life Jennings' baby mama. Like who cares? Like that's you don't get, I mean, is that even like I guess you wouldn't even be considered a pseudo celebrity at that point. Like, who cares that
Right,
you have an
right.
attachment or affiliation with somebody? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I would come to the A and I would hear things like that, it kind of gave me the impression of everybody thought that they were that person. And so until recently, like me going back and forth being in Atlanta with Curlin. So Curlin does okay, so Curlin's into cars and tech. And I'm gonna say you have black people in both fields in Atlanta. Not maybe, well, you have it down here too. The tech part probably not so much, but with Curlin does different things. So we weren't just going to the city, and we not going to every club or lounge and
Right, right,
um
right.
stuff like that. So we're doing different things, meeting different people. And then
Hmm.
I kind of got out last week that I was there. I kind of got out to explore the city by myself. And I just went to the
You sure
mall
didn't
and,
hit me
just
up,
kind of
but
walked.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Ma'am, I was on a limited time schedule, and I was
Go
trying
ahead.
to find something green so I can go be on JB's show. Shout out to JB. That's our lanes up in here. Femininity overload. Huh? But I
Hey,
had went on
JB.
JB. I
Hmm.
cammed up on JB's show the last time, the day after Christmas.
Hmm.
And so it was just something, I wanted to find something cute. So I just went
Right.
chilled out. But when I went to the mall, it was like I went to the mall and it was like people in the A are with the shits. And so I went to get me a cookie or something, and the little boy
Mhm.
was like, well, I can't sell you that. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why? And he was like, I'm just fucking with you. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
they
okay.
play all day.
Yeah. And it was, but it was cute because I'm like, oh, and I had went to another store. A lady was standing like hella close behind me, and I'm like, God damn, like, so the woman was ringing me up, and I was like, put it on her check because she, that close behind me, like
Oh
she gonna pay
no.
for it. Yeah, girl, I did.
Okay.
And so the woman was like, both of the women laughed and the woman apologized. She was like, oh, it's my bad because, I was trying to look at something over here. But it was just nice because it seemed like they have a playfulness to them. I like cities with soul. And I felt like
Hmm.
I had kind of missed the soul of Atlanta
Yeah.
when I had been going previously as a younger woman. So
Hmm.
going now and hanging out now and kind of getting a feel for people are very friendly. Um, it's kind of like I've embraced it a little bit more. So
Okay.
definitely looking forward to getting married. Definitely looking forward to a big move this year. I don't have very long, and
Hmm.
I'm hella excited. Like
That
hella.
is exciting. Just kind of
Yeah.
like starting this just whole new chapter, relocating and moving in with your husband, and just that is pretty exciting in and of itself. So that is a lot to look forward to. Um, yeah, I'm excited about you moving down here because, baby, you can deal
Yes,
with my moodiness up close and personal, and
baby,
not just
concrete,
over the phone. Don't
concrete.
try it. Listen, don't.
Um,
Mm-mm.
y'all don't know the kind of hell she takes me through offline,
Don't
y'all.
don't believe her. Y'all
Ooh,
don't.
honey,
I'm
honey.
innocent. I'm innocent. Um, and
Y'all
I'm
talking
I'm
to the other Gemini this morning, honey.
no,
Y'all got to get offline when she cussing my ass out. I don't want to do that damn topic. You need to come up with something else.
I'm sticking to it. I'm innocent and I'm sticking to it. That's my story.
Baby.
Um, but
Oh, mm,
listen, y'all know I would never. I don't curse people out. Like you got to be. Cause for me, it ain't no coming back from that. Like I'm not the type of person. If it's a curse out and we like doing a knockdown, drag out type of thing, like it ain't no. I don't do the I curse you out today and then I'm friends with you tomorrow. Once I cross, like once certain boundaries are crossed or certain lines are crossed, then ain't no coming back from that. But business stuff. Business stuff can always be tricky and tough. But this my boo.
Well,
So
let
on
me
to this
explain this
topic.
to you what my pastor told me because me and Curlin
What your
went to
pastor
marriage
say?
counseling for the first time yesterday. Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
What your
And
pastor
so,
tell you?
pastor said, you have to treat your business relationship like a marriage.
Oh.
And he says you also have to treat your marriage like a business partnership.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
I agree.
And so he said, with your business partner, he was like, y'all can get mad, knocked down, drag out, mad at each other, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to keep in mind what the goal is. And the
Yeah.
goal is to come to YouTube and make some damn money. And ain't nobody that super chatted us yet. So I feel some type of way about this shit this morning, but I'm gonna let y'all make it up in the chat. I'm gonna let y'all make it. That's what
You
I'm gonna
know
do.
what? Let
But
them make it.
I'm gonna let
That's
them
one of
make
the
it. I ain't gonna
goals.
say nothing.
The other goal is also to have enjoyable conversation, like for this to be a thing that we enjoy. So that's
Yes.
always, important too.
Yes.
But about this topic, your pastor was on the money. As a matter of fact, let me shout out to pastor.
Shout out
Um,
to Pastor. I hope you
I
I hope you're not listening to this topic this morning.
hope not.
And my daddy should be in church. So
Hopefully, Daddy in church and Pastor not listening. But
yes.
about this topic though, because we already see some comments. Miss JV
hmm
commenting on the actual topic. But yeah, we talking about black girls being easy. So
Oh.
yeah, about that.
Mm.
Where you want to start with this? Because this is going to be an interesting topic. I think that black girls being easy seems to be the premise, or seems to be how black women are viewed, especially by men in this space, because they say as much. They indicate that they believe that black women are easy. So it's clear how they feel about black women. Now, whether or not we disagree is to be determined. But where do you want to start with this specific topic?
Okay. So are black women really that easy? Because because I kind of hear it from two different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, they talk about black women being easy. They can sleep with black women. They can do whatever with black women. But then I
Mm-hmm.
hear the black women that they won't, they can't. It ain't enough for them to
Mm.
go around.
Well,
They can't get sex from these black women because these black women sleeping with Pookie and Ray Ray. And so then I'd be like, well, damn, are they really that easy if you ain't getting none? And I'm like, if you ain't getting none, then they can't be really that easy if you ain't getting it. If they sleeping with Pookie and Ray Ray and you can't get any of it, then does it make them really that easy? And then I'll be like, then so I've come to like a number of things with
mm-hmm.
this. Let me break out my notes, child. Mhm.
Uh-oh. Pull out the notepad.
Yes. So I'm saying like,
So
are
what
they
did you
easy
conclude?
as it um Return to Black King said, do I want them to speak on this? I sure do.
Mm-hmm. Um,
um so then I was thinking like I've noticed a lot of men push for sexual liberation
mm,
only to turn around to shame women in the end. Y'all need to do da 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 da. Y'all ain't giving it up on the first date. Dating is for porking. You know, all that bullshit Obsidian be talking about. I'll get to him later though. Because it's
uh-oh.
coming. Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Not
It's
brother
coming.
O, but go
I'm on his
ahead.
ass. I'm on that ass this morning. Um, then I've noticed that other races or women are allowed to go through a whole phase, and their men don't necessarily penalize them the way
Say
our
that
men penalize us.
at all.
Then, I was also thinking about the aspect of black women actually going for what they desire sexually
Mm.
versus what's actually practical. And so those are a couple of things that I was thinking about when I was
Well,
thinking about the topic.
Well, we gonna dive off into those things. I do want to say, since JV brought it up, um, I have to say I grew up around nothing but white girls, and this was pre-conscious, concrete. So yeah, I had a ton of white friends, and the thing is, men in this space like to think because they date white girls that they have an idea of like intimate conversations and have intimate knowledge of everything they do, and that's not necessarily the case. But I have to agree with JV that they were definitely, and I'm talking about dating back to when I was much, 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 much younger, engaging in and doing things that Black girls were not doing at a time when, things were taboo for us. And
What they was
as
doing,
you,
concrete? Tell us, tell us.
baby, listen, um, I won't get off into specifics, but they were things that we would consider like, oh, that's too freaky. Oh, that's a line that, I won't cross. I'm not even open to exploring that. They were
Mm,
completely open to it.
mm.
And, no, just thinking about that, I think that that's why a lot of Black men, um, in like the 90s, early 2000s were so interested in them because they heard that they're more liberal in the bedroom. So,
Yes,
like you brought up, I think that they are absolutely permitted to go through a quote unquote hoe phase without being judged. I mean, like, can sleep with your brother and, can sleep with a brother and marry his, sleep with a guy and marry his brother, and they're not judged for it because, she was young, she was in
mm,
college or
mm.
whatever. And so they're not judged in the same harsh light that we are by our men. However, However,
However,
I have to be honest and admit that I have seen a shift in Black women's liberation, sexual liberation, and Black women being more open, Black women being, even to the point that Black women are now celebrating some of the very things that, 15, 20 years ago would have been taboo in our communities. So I do think that Black women are becoming easier, and I'll say, I'll leave it there.
okay. You spoke about how others others were allowed to have a whole phase. They're allowed to go through certain things. Nobody penalizes them for it. I don't necessarily know if I can say I agree with it to a certain degree, but being that you do have like a white manosphere presence, I do think they're starting to look at their women a bit more harshly in that aspect. I don't think it was like it was before. I don't think they actually judge the women like I think we've always been judged for being seen as fast or whatever. I don't when you talk about fast chicks or whatever, it's always the face of a little dark skinned girl that you'll see where they call the little
They
girl
don't even use that
fast
type of
or
language. Like in white
exactly.
communities,
And
they don't
so I've
use,
never
fast.
yeah, I've never seen their girls as sexualized as our young women from an early age. Like they'll call our little girls hoes and sluts and this, that, and the third, but I don't hear it from the other side. Not as an at an early age. And so when a young girl usually takes on that, if they use that language towards our young girls, I notice that the young girls tend to grow up and they still end up falling down a path. Like you put the whole label on them early, and generally, like yeah, I've kind of noticed it's like a little pathology with that. So, um, oh,
Well, I
oh,
can't disagree with that. I think that not only is there a pathology, and that's not to say that some girls are um probably, looking, some young girls are fast. That I would deem some young girls as fast. However, I think that we also have to look at the fact that, you know we can say young girls are fast, but on the other hand, we have grown men looking at and attempting to, court these young girls, like grown men, because a young girl, which this is even for young girls who aren't quote unquote fast. Her
Yeah.
body may be developing early, and she may have
Yes.
hips and start to fill out, and because which that's no fault of her own, she can't control that. Because of that, because of her physical makeup, you will have grown men attempting to become sexual with her. And that's something that is, she can't control. So, do we have young girls that are, you know, ahead of their time, not ahead of their time, but maybe moving faster than they should be as it relates to their interest in sex? Absolutely. But on the flip side, we have grown men who are, mature, who have developed their reasoning, who, should know better, that are attempting to court these young girls.
Do you think class has a lot to do with it? And shout out to Dante Whitaker. He says, because Black women are the only women who lead with their sexuality, that's why you are considered easy. Dante Whitaker, I totally disagree. We're going to get into it, but I totally disagree with that statement. But
You
back
were about
to
to ask
my
something.
question. Yeah,
Mhm.
does class have a lot to do with it?
Oh, does class have a lot to do with it? I do believe that class has a lot to do with it. I think that, not, I think that people who are impoverished and people who are, um, you know, low working class people, first of all, I think that class has a lot to do with it, but I also think that, um, lack of education is, more importantly, what impacts it, because I think that, and us being indoctrinated with religion, as we talked about, which really
Mm.
had nothing to do with our topic, but I touched on religion a little bit ago. I think that Black people, more often than not, feel as though these conversations should not be had in the house, so they're not having open conversations and educating their daughters about, sex, and educating their daughter,
Oh,
like,
preparing the
Black
children for
people.
sex. Mm.
Yes, Black people shy away from those conversations.
Yes.
And as a result, your kids are going out into the world and trying to learn about it on their own, and they're, exploring with one another, and, doing things that they shouldn't be doing and maybe wouldn't be doing if their parents would not shy away from having those conversations with them.
You know what? I mentioned this on our show. I've also mentioned this on Ramil's show. And it's like most Black people, especially as it pertains to the girls, most girls are not prepared for dick. And people think of, when you say prepared for dick, people only thinking of, like, people usually think of just the physical aspects of it. But
Ooh,
sex
elaborate,
is so
sis.
much more than sticking a penis inside of a hole. There are
Agreed.
seduction aspects of it. There are emotional aspects of it.
Spiritual
There's
aspects of it.
manipulation aspects of it that most little girls are not prepared for. And so it kind of brings me back to, we sit up here and talk about girls waiting to have sex. They'll talk about you waiting 90 days to have sex, but you're still talking about who's a bitch and who's a hoe, or what mentality makes a woman a bitch or a hoe, or a slut. And it's like, it does not add up. When you really break it down, you
Mm,
want the women to be virginal and virtuous, and you want them to be ladies, and you want them to be good, and you want them to be
hmm.
wholesome. But at the same token, we endorse women like Meg the Stallion, Cardi B. uh
Absolutely.
we love, we also, it, so I've seen memes where guys would be like, we want an Alicia Curry or Aisha Curry, we want her,
Hmm.
but we also want a Cardi B on the side. And it's like, Cardi B and
Yeah,
Aisha Curry are not going to be the same women. Um
absolutely.
and it's like, so you want a sexually deviant woman, but you want her to be this virtuous woman. You only want her to be your
Hmm.
slut. But when she don't know how to be your slut, then it's a problem.
I think that you're pointing out like the hypocrisy that we see, and I cannot deny that it exists, and it is a part of the problem. I think the problem is multifold, um, but and I absolutely do still think that the major, more pressing thing that is influencing how Black women are received and how Black women are perceived across the world is the fact that we are celebrating hoism. We're celebrating thought
Yes.
culture, slut walks. We like, I'm okay.
Pump
So
and
for
dump.
example, pump and dump. We're celebrating this, and like that bothers me. That is bothersome to me, and I don't expect everyone to have this traditional mindset and be have this veil or be a prude or anything like that, but I do think that it's disturbing for Black women to be celebrating this, because my concern is that a concern regarding Black girls that are being raised in a society where thottiness is celebrated. For example, I am in a um I'm in so many different sisterhood groups, and one of them, it's a pretty large one. Yesterday, someone asked the question if anyone in the group was a sex worker. There were any sex workers in the group, and so a few people came on. They were like, why aren't you looking at sex worker groups, and kind of negative regarding the question that was posed. And I was side eyeing the question. I didn't say anything on the post. I was just, most of the time I don't. I just will read unless it's something very intriguing, because I don't like getting involved in an all day back and forth on posts. But so there were so many people that came and shamed the women for questioning, because it's a self love group. Why in a self love group a woman can't ask about Black women being sex workers? Like, they talked about sexual liberation and a woman's right to sell her body if she wants to, and this, that, and the other. And they were shaming people for questioning why there was a problem with her asking that question. And of course, there were a ton of women who came on the post and admitted that they engage in sex work, anything from selling their panties to phone sex operators to dom work to. And I was appalled, because it reached well over 1,000 comments, and I saw so many people engaging, or people inquiring about how to get hooked up to get into it. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was kind of startling for me to see that. And I guess, I kind of lived in a sense, in denial in a sense, but
Yeah.
that type of stuff is part of the problem, like celebrating thought culture and shaming people who question it or who don't, conform to the idea of, celebrating it because they may see it as immoral.
Right, right, right. But shout out to Pablo Frescobar. What are you classifying as a young girl? Y'all will call
Stop
a
it, Pablo.
35-year-old a young girl.
Stop it, Pablo.
Pablo, I think you're full of shit.
Stop
Early
it.
on a Sunday morning, child. On a
And
Sunday,
he
you
ain't
ought to
waste
cut it
no
out.
time.
Cut it out. Don't do that.
Pablo, we're talking about a 35-year-old woman
She's a
being a young
PYT,
girl.
honey. Honey, I'm a
Listen,
PYT. Shit.
come on, like seriously, we're not far removed from 35, so clearly we're not saying a 35-year-old woman is a young girl.
Honey, honey, he said
But
we're a 35-year-old young, honey.
baby, you see how they do it? They know they can over exaggerate. I'm telling you. But essentially, like I said, for me, I think that I see the hypocrisy that was pointed out as it relates to men and the behaviors that they engage in, all while talking about how this culture of thottiness is pervasive in our communities, and how detrimental it is to our communities, but they engage in behaviors that promote the same culture. But on the other hand, I see women celebrating it. I see women saying, do what you got to do, sis, and get the bag, get your coin. And no matter, what you're doing to get it. And personally, I wouldn't want my daughters being influenced by that. If I had young girls, like, I'm so glad that my daughters are young adults, and, things weren't as bad as they are today. within our society and our communities, because I wouldn't want my child being influenced by that.
Yeah, they talk about I noticed that whole culture is definitely pushed a lot. The get the bag culture is definitely pushed a lot. Another thing that I've kind of noticed too, it's almost like you have the selling of virginity and shit like that online nowadays. I need my notepad back. Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Did you have you ever seen a show called Handmaid's Tale?
No, I've never seen it, but I've heard of the show, of course, but I've never watched it.
Okay. Well, Handmaid's Tale was a show that basically took away all of the women's rights. And so they
Oh.
actually went back to a patriarchal mindset or a patriarchal
Mm,
society. And so they literally took all the women's rights. Um and it was interesting. So the handmaids were these women that were basically brought in to help breed a new society. These were women
oh,
that were able to create babies and they were able to create a new society, right?
wow.
What I noticed about the and it was a it's about 3 seasons long. Me and Curlin made it through the first season over the weekend. But
Hmm.
it was interesting because these women were like the handmaids were taken in, they were made to be pure, they
Hmm.
were made to act a certain way, but they were used for barren women like of richer families and stuff to make babies for these richer families, right?
Hmm.
So the handmaids would actually go in, lay down while the woman, the wife, is holding her arms back, and the husband is having intercourse with her, right?
Oh my
So
gosh.
they called it the ceremony. It was probably real traumatic for everybody involved, especially the women, because like, you
Hmm.
watching your husband have sex with another woman or procreate with another woman, you're very sterile, right? Nothing romantically inclined, but the husband still followed his nature. He still ended up getting with the woman, having a romantic sexual relationship with her
Mm,
on the back end without the wife knowing it. And then he ended up taking her to this secret location, which ended up being basically a whorehouse. They did all this to eradicate the matriarch. Um, and they still ended up going to the whorehouse. They still
mm,
ended up participating in the culture. And so then it's like, okay, so y'all say women are easy, this, that, and the third, but y'all complain about the same shit y'all participate in. And
hmm.
that in that aspect, it doesn't make sense to me. Y'all don't want y'all want the women to be women. Y'all want the women to be nice. Y'all want the women to be feminine. But Cardi B is not short of money. She's not short of streams. The strip club ain't going nowhere no time
Hmm.
soon. Um then as far as women waiting for sex and not being as easy for you to get sex, she's a prude, she's a T, she's this, that, and the
Hmm.
third. Do you really feel that women who are on more so of the prudish side, do you feel that they actually get more respect or disrespect?
A couple things. So I'll answer your question. I think that I don't think that men would want to live in a society where women were not sexually liberated, where you didn't have OnlyFans, where there was no okay. Um, I don't think that men would want to live in a society where they didn't have access to, easy sex and things of that nature. But to answer your question, I don't think that prudes are more respected. I think that there was probably a time when, um, acting, being demure and, being reserved, women did have more respect, but not in today's society. I don't think it's a thing of them garnering more respect. No, not at all.
Okay. Shout out to there. I said it. He says, I have a black daughter, previous marriage. As soon as she developed, my sister, mom, auntie began buying booty shorts, etc. against my demand. Hashtag
Oh no.
SYSBM. It does
Mm.
not sound like you have a lot of influence over the women in your family.
Right. They shouldn't be able to
Um,
buy your daughter booty shorts.
Yeah, and then if you're talking to your mom, sister, and auntie, and they're still going against your wishes, and you have not removed them from that
Hmm.
child's life, and so they were able to follow your program and your plan of action, especially how you're trying to raise your daughter,
Yep,
then that's already an issue.
I
Ty
agree.
City said y'all didn't use a movie or a TV show as a reference. I can use the manosphere as a reference in the talking points that we hear all over the manosphere.
Absolutely.
The manosphere says that you guys want women to be more feminine when y'all want women to act
Mhm.
a certain way. Y'all want women to look a certain way. Y'all want women to be more ladylike. A woman fucking early and giving up the cooch every time a man asks her for it wouldn't really be considered ladylike, though, would it now, be Ty City? Shit, I ain't with it. Hmm. Um, Darren Jones said the question is respected by who? Well, I'm saying if y'all are saying that y'all don't want hoes, but y'all are not showing a certain type of woman, if y'all are saying that y'all don't want hoes, but y'all are showing
Mhm.
the hoe and the nice
Prude
woman,
or
quote
right.
unquote, the prude woman, the same type of
Mhm.
respect. What's the incentive of well, and they'll
Ah.
say the incentive is self-respect.
Mm.
And true, self-respect is a thing. It is. But I think women are trying to transcend it to a certain degree, saying, well, the men don't respect us anyway. I'm going to do what it is that I want to do when I want to do it by. And I feel power within that. Um, do you
Thank you.
think the sexually liberated woman feels more powerful?
Um, yes. I definitely think that the sexually liberated woman feels more powerful, just as the woman who is making her own money feels more powerful than the woman who likely feels more powerful than the woman who depends on her spouse for finances. So yes, I do think that there is a sense of power that is received from being sexually liberated. Absolutely.
That's interesting. Um, because now I get I kind of wonder about this down the line. So even when I was doing the research with Wesley Pipes or whatever, I went and watched like women who had did porn before, right?
Hmm.
These women looked so dead in the eyes and they looked so sad and so depressed. And I'm like, you made money off of this, but you don't look like a powerful woman who held their shit and who saved themselves. It was just interesting.
Well, I think that the power could be temporary, that the power is in the moment. The power, like you feel powerful as a woman when you are dancing on a stage and you have the attention of an entire room of men and they're throwing their
Oh.
money at you, or when you're being paid to be a dom, or when someone is showering you with gifts because they just want to be in your presence.
Mm,
I think that in the moment you probably do feel powerful. However, that power may be temporary. It may be short lived. It may, dry up. What happens when these women that are sexually liberated, engaging in sex work and all of that? What happens when they grow old? What happens when their body, when gravity starts to take over and the boobs get to
right.
sagging, and you know what I mean? What happens at that point? Like, I don't know what the backup plan for those women would be. I don't know that it matters if you're easy at 70. I don't know how that will benefit you.
You have a good point. Shout out to BMT. He says, who wearing booty shorts in the winter during COVID-19?
You know
DMT, I think you'd be surprised.
what? You
Um,
probably would. But you want to
What
open it
is the
up?
thing,
Go ahead.
honey? I think it's time. I think it's
Yeah.
time.
Let's open it up and hear from the people. We probably won't have an extended show today. So, as a result, we're going to open it up for everybody. For the ladies who do not want to come up and be on the panel at the same time that the men are because they, don't want to engage for whatever reason, we will give you an opportunity at the end of the show to come up and speak uninterrupted.
Brock Hershey, nobody loves silk anymore, darling. We like a good poly blend. I don't know. It's so weird. Oh, and Brock has made it up here. Brock sent you. Okay, so you are a real person. Hey, Brock.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What did you think about the topic?
I like it.
Do you have
Oh,
any
do you think
comments
black
on what
are
we're
easy?
discussing?
What?
Go ahead,
Did
Danny.
you have any commentary about it? Do you think black girls are easy?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
When was the last time you were with one?
I don't. I. I haven't been with one, man.
So what would make you think that they're easy if you haven't been with one?
I'm sorry, guys.
Why are you apologizing?
Just because. I mean.
I don't know that you've done anything wrong. I just wanted to know what makes you feel as though black girls are easy if you've never been with one. Like where does that come from? That belief?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, Brock, we want to thank you so much for joining the panel and participating. We're gonna let some more people up on the panel, but thank you so much for coming through and supporting the show.
Do you have any
Thank you,
silk
Brock.
sister, George?
I am more into cotton and polyester blend myself.
Huh?
I'm more into polyester and cotton blend. Like I like cotton and
But thank
I
wool.
you for
like
joining us,
Esther
Brock.
too.
Okay, well, Brock, we're actually going to allow some other guys to come on the panel so we can continue the conversation and stay on topic. But thank you for joining us. Lord have mercy. God.
Can I say it? Can I say it?
Oh, man.
Yo,
Happy New Year to y'all.
Bro,
Happy
What's
New
going
Year.
on with you, bro?
Happy New
Peace to
Year,
San Francisco
Chiefs.
Miss
County
T
Junior
Rose
III.
and Sister
Look.
George. Look, if ain't nobody gonna say it,
Hello.
I'm gonna say it. Look,
Well,
that dude was not right in the brain. Bro was
Am
trying
I
to
live
blow
on
up.
the air?
That was
Ho-
cool. Who
ready?
was that?
Hold on,
Emma
guys.
Flood.
Hey,
Okay, we
hold
gotta
on,
go
guys.
one at a
We're gonna go one at a
Was that
Let's start
Bisco
with Miss
County
J.
Jr.?
I thought we
Let's
decided to live.
guys. We want to go one at a time, but let's start with Miss
Okay.
J. We have Miss J
Yeah,
on the
I
panel.
think
Miss J.
we're probably gonna do two people on the panel at a time because we want everybody to be able to get their topics, when their talking points out. So I'm gonna start off with JoJo and Miss J, and then I'm gonna rotate people in, two people at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, Miss J and JoJo. What's up, guys?
What's going
How
on
you
with
doing?
you? You ain't gonna troll me today.
Nah, JoJo, I'm gonna let you live today, darling. I'm in a good mood. I ain't bitter.
I
It was a good
appreciate it.
What did you think?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it just depends on if she like you or not. If the girl like you, of course it's gonna be easy. If she don't, then you know what I'm saying, she gonna make you work for it or whatever. But this something I gotta say, and I get a lot of pushback on this. When dudes be you know what I'm saying, when they, because how can I say that? I ain't, you know what I'm saying, some dudes gonna get butt hurt, but I gotta say it. Some of these dudes have developed a mentality that like every single woman, you know what I'm saying, just ain't shit off rip. And like when a dude like me try to tell him or something, you know what I'm saying, some decent one, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or you know what I mean, just goofy shit. And then you actually do, like, when last time you talked to a girl? Oh, I don't even have a female's number. I haven't talked to a girl in 5, 7, 8 months. It just make you wonder, like, you know what I'm saying? You see that some of you do not right in the brain, but that if I'm going just like kind of with that question, it just depends if the girl like you or not. But yeah, I just like, you know what I'm saying, some of these niggas just gotta stop, you know what I'm saying, and just take a deep breath and just say, you know what I'm saying, what do I need to do as a man to get cooperation from a woman? Because you got some of these niggas who, you know what I'm saying, I know this like way, you know what I'm saying, left field, but I just gotta say it because niggas, they just, you know what I'm saying, they be bitching too much. Like, you got some dudes who say, oh, I can't get a woman to submit to me, and she won't do this and she won't do that. Well, I tell the niggas, leave a bitch, get you another one. Oh, they all the same. They all the same. And then when I tell them, I'm like, bro, I have a girl who cooperated with me, she submits to me, couldn't clean, all that, no question. You know what I'm saying? Then it's, oh, that's you. You're an exception. You know what I mean? It's just, at some point, dudes gonna have to figure out, like, you know what I'm saying, what do I want, and pick your nuts up and stop being a bitch. Like, even with this question, you got dudes who just don't like black women. Oh, they're all hoes. They're all hoes. But you ain't even talking to no girls. So how you know? You know what I'm saying? It all depends. The answer to this question, it honestly depends on if she like you or not. If a broad is attracted to you, she gonna be easy. If she's not, yes, ma'am.
I think you brought up something interesting that Danny had also hit on, and it was in relation to men in this space saying that black women are easy, or you know, basically alluding to black women being easy. However, they're unable to get with, you know, said women. I do think that if black women were easy, then you should, you know, it shouldn't be difficult at all for you to, you know, find what you're looking for, because black women are easy.
But there's a reason why. But there's a reason why that narrative is out there. And it's something that people don't realize. It's generational. The younger generation, they're not having sex. They're going off what they see on their phone, social media, and porn. When you look at the statistics, the CDC has done statistics about that. A lot of them, they are the least sexually experienced generation in like decades and decades.
Wow.
They're not out there. They're not out there dating. They're not out there having sex. They're watching. Yeah, I'm saying they're watching porn, and they're watching other people talk about their lives on social media, and they're taking their cues from that. A lot of them have never slept with anybody, men and women. There's a reason why the birth rate is so low among the younger generation. They're not having sex.
I have seen a study. I actually recently saw a study or an article that indicated that people are dating far less, and it was talking about the negative aspects of social media, because now people are getting out and meeting people and actually dating and interacting because they have social media.
No, but I'm saying people, the difference is they're looking like at these dating apps. The vast majority of people actually are not on dating apps, and the vast majority of people on dating apps are not getting anything. They're literally swiping and looking at other people. They're not actually interacting. I'm not saying nobody is not having sex, but I'm just saying the people who are doing it is way less than what people are assuming. People out there talking about the girls nowadays, I'm saying they're out there talking about they're having sex when they're 13. In previous generations, that may have been that way, especially around the crack era when the parents weren't just around. But I'm saying the generation now that are young, they're not doing that. They're only on their phone.
I believe that. I believe that, and that's why you see a switch in like the birth rates of like teens has drastically declined. I think it's the lowest it's been since in a very, very long time. And then
Like
you see women in
10%.
but
10% of girls now are teen
women in their
mothers.
30s. You see a
Yeah.
spike in women in their 30s getting pregnant and having babies, and even the single mother birth rate for women in their 30s has increased.
Yeah. Because the women basically weren't getting anything, and they decided, you know what, I better do it now before I can't have any kids. And they're popping out one. They're not in relationships. They're just basically like, hey, I need someone to knock me up. So
Exactly.
people are not out there dating like they think they are, like people think it is. It's just not happening. So that's why you have the disconnect between people thinking so-and-so is easy, and then they're thinking, oh, they don't want the good man, they just want the thugs. People out here really thinking that the jailbirds are the only ones out here having sex in the Black community. They genuinely think that because they're not jailbirds and they're not getting sex. But they've been taught Black women, they just fuck anything. If you like them, they'll have sex with you. Well, they don't like me, so they're not having sex with me. They like the thugs, they're having sex with thugs. And they're going off that thinking process. But that's not the reality.
Exactly. And this like this. Oh, my bad.
Well, I wanted to read what Infinity Love Harris had said, and she said, "Men can't tell me how to be a woman," and I wanted to know everybody's opinion on that statement. I thought it was a very interesting statement, and for the
Can I
simple
go
fact,
first?
yeah, actually, you can.
Okay. So, see, when I see stuff like that, it let me know that a woman adopted the feminist mentality. Like she feel like, you know what I'm saying, you can't tell her anything. And when you know what I'm saying, see women say stuff like that, it just lets you know she already brainwashed. Because this is my thing. You had a girl like that, she'll be the same one saying, oh, a dude should do this or a dude should do that. So if we gonna use that logic you using, you can't tell a man how to be a man. So how he treats you is however you should be treated. So,
but isn't that always said anyways, that a woman can't tell a man how to be a man, or how you can't tell a man what masculinity is and how to display it?
That's true, but you still, like, I know y'all still see girls trying to do that, trying to kind of tell a man how he should navigate as a man. Like, and I'm gonna say one more thing too. See, you can tell when a woman is, how can I say this? Because I'm trying to censor myself because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But you can tell when like a girl has not been around a masculine man. Like it just kind of shows. Like when a woman fixes her mouth to say something like that, that right there shows you're not with a man who lead, or you haven't allowed a man to, you know what I'm saying, to lead you or whatever. Or you just mess with ain't shit dudes who ain't about shit. It's one of those three. Because this is my thing. My girl never fix her mouth to say no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? A woman can have her opinion and stuff like this, but if I tell you I like something, or I tell you I want you to be a certain way, because as a man you have a certain standard, you say, "Oh, nigga, fuck that, I ain't gonna do that," but you're gonna get left, and you get replaced by one who's gonna be cooperative and submissive. That's how I feel about it.
Thank you, and I agree with a lot of what you said.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Want to get some? Hold on, guys.
Who
we
is
want
that?
to also get some other panelists in. I think we'll have Pablo, but I did want to read RBR's comment. That was funny. I think Danny already put it down. But
RBR said
RBR
the studio is full of a real
Hey, can anybody hear me?
Go up there and bless them with the truth. Hashtag RBRN.
We can hear you. I'm not sure who it is trying to talk, but we can hear you. But we're gonna have Pablo chime in next on the topic and on the comment that Danny highlighted as well.
Right.
Pablo.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having a problem with my phone, so I hope I'm not going in and out. Hello?
Okay, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna say this. This is based on my 20-some years of experience dating Black women. I'll put it like this. I'm not gonna say that all Black women are easy, but I'll put it like this, and I'm basing this on the fact of the you look at the ratio of Black women that happen to be single mothers and unwed single mothers. If you whether it's the newer generation, millennials, or if you go back to generation Z and Y, you know, people who were born in the 80s and 90s. It's like this, especially from my preference and what I've seen. Black women a majority of them are easy, but they have a preference of who they're easy with. I mean, not every man is going to have the same. How can I say? They're not going to have the same leverage as other men. Like fat men with the 200 credit score and a 2-inch PP ain't going to be able to score with the same type of woman that will easily give it to a man who looks like a Tay Diggs or Shamar Moore or whoever is currently popular right now. So it's more or less when you look at a lot of single mothers, and I hate to say this, but a majority of black women are single mothers. But if you look at what other society look at black women and look at the ratio of those who aren't getting married before they have kids, and seeing that this is what is in mainstream, then it kind of gives that perception of other races, including our own people, that this is what's out there. And it's just that from what I've seen of black women, yeah, they are easy. Like, for instance, like I was just saying, guys have certain advantages over others. I mean, not everybody looks the same or are as attractive on the outside as some women might be appealed to. Because
brother, you are borging out quite a bit.
Okay.
That was probably for the best. Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready now. If you want to
we're
go to
gonna
me.
come back to you. Yeah, we're gonna have Pablo up in, and then we'll go to Brown Bert. I do think somebody said these nuts was contradicting.
Concrete, you borging out.
No, I was not contradicting myself at all.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you borging out a little bit.
I can hear you.
That's a lot of forehead.
Can you hear
on
me?
the
Yes,
screen.
yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of forehead on the screen, bro. Turn the camera off. That's...
You, but I just
Are you guys?
That's not me.
We're gonna let Pablo get in. Just 1 second. I just wanted to say these nuts did say something that was interesting when he spoke about the single mother rate. So I wonder, being that the single mother rate is also on the decline as it relates to black women, or excuse me, being that birthing rates are on the decline as it relates to black women, does that mean black women are becoming less easy? But we'll answer that when we allow him to chime back in. We're going to go ahead and let Pablo comment first. Let me read the super chat real quick, Pablo, first. Bro Curlin says,
guys.
True enough, a guy can't tell a girl how to be a woman, but a man can show her what kind of behavior is expected of women.
Exactly.
Thank you, Bro Curlin. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Pablo.
Hey guys, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay. I'm out here in Cartagena, Colombia. Drinking my cerveza. So look, the issue is not that black men don't want black women to have sex. The issue is they don't want you to bring home the evidence so that they can have more options to have wives later. So it's not that they don't they mind black women being sexual. They don't mind that. Matter of fact, they want that. The problem is they don't want you to bring home the evidence of some other man's child. That's the issue. So we love sex. Don't get us wrong. We absolutely want it. Yeah, we want the best of both worlds. We want access to beautiful women who are sexual, and we want them to be able to hold off enough so that we can actually have a family with them, and so that they not do that. And other cultures do it. They manage to make it work. I don't know why we can't. I don't get it. But, okay.
Who are those other cultures?
Because the other cultures actually get married.
Well, they do
the
it.
reason why black women are single mothers is because they don't get married until they're later and out of
They
their
don't
fertility years.
want to get married. They don't want to get
Indian
married.
men have plenty of
Wait a
sex with
minute,
their
we
women,
still
and they
have to
don't
go
want to
one
have
at a
sex until they
time.
get married.
Exactly.
Stop that.
And y'all,
Y'all
is everybody
African
born
men
out,
do
or
it
is
well.
it just
East
me?
African men do it as well. West Africa,
Pablo.
Y'all
they
are
have
full of
plenty of
shit
sex,
now.
and they're not bringing home children. Stop playing.
Y'all are full of shit now on this panel.
Well, let's let
Okay,
Pablo
okay.
finish, and then we're going to go to Brown Bird and
Hey,
BMT.
BMT.
Damn, just
Okay,
skip over
so I think
archery.
Pablo's done. Let's have Brown Bird chime in, and then we'll have BMT.
Peace, Steers and Chiefs. What's going on?
Peace.
Peace.
What up with you, bro?
What's good with y'all? So look, listen. So this is how I'm gonna break it down, man. I don't want to bring up the single mother stuff. I don't want to bring it up. It's so annoying, and I'm tired of the topic. Just to be real, but let's analyze the whole thing about black girls being easy. It's the perception, and honestly, this day and age, the only reason why black women get so much flack for it is because of what's being aired out on social media. We didn't see it the whole entire year, especially when I keep making those digs about that advertisement about that woman putting those women in those stripper outfits and all that other stuff. You can say Cardi B, you can say Megan Thee Stallion. At the end of the day, it's about who's behind the screens projecting this about black women. In my dating aspect, there has been perfectly fine black women that did not give the cooch to me on the first date. That's just real. And again, it's not limiting it to black women. I just feel like a lot of women of this social climate usually are the ones to be easy in some type of way, whether because the way that they dress or the way that they act. But black women have more of it because of how they're being prescribed through the media. So that's my whole thing. I mean, I can still see it, but I know for sure certain experiences that I had it was cool. Prescribed through the media. So that's my whole thing.
Thank you, Brown Bird. Appreciate you. Now we're going to have BMT go ahead and chime in with his opinion on the topic. And if you remember the question where the young lady said a man can't tell her how to be a woman.
Yeah. Hold on. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, there we go. Fixed it.
We can hear you.
Yeah. About the stuff about the topic. Yeah. Are women easy? I mean, we're in a free market trade where people choose what's their value system now. It's gotten like that now. Some people can get it off a mouthpiece. Some people, they just not in that predicament to have access. And I gotta agree with Brown Bird. Like, it depends on the type of women you're dealing with in a certain type of climate. We hear where some people like to go to places where people have lesser access or lesser ways to say no, versus other places where people, they like, nah, you ain't got nothing going for you. I'm not giving you no access to what I got. And that's for the women. And it ain't no secret. Like, you go down to certain projects, certain areas, and you got the cash. That broad want to come up. She gonna go either with you or she gonna go with your program, unless she's instilled with certain type of values or something like that, or she's saving the goods. This nonsense about, well, only black people do it. Man, I've been over there to India. They got a whole block full of whole culture where they sell little girls and sell women all day, every day. Like, that miss me with that BS that we do it, man. They'll sell their kid for a little pig or a pack of cigarettes. So all this bullshit that you hearing for like that over there in Hispanic, everybody does this stuff, man. Everybody plays the game at a thing. Women are looked at as resources. Except the thing about it now, we're in the Western world where women are taking their resource of the goods and flipping it and starting to doggone do trade with OnlyFans and different other things. And dudes they can't capitalize on the money like that because the women are doing it for themselves. So they cut out the middleman, the man, and now they're doing it on them. Now they're doing it for themselves. That's honestly what it is. You're no longer the handler over that woman. As far as a woman, I can't teach no woman. I can't teach no woman how to be a woman. I can't teach her, but I'm not a woman. I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? But I know what I know what I want out of a woman. As far as I know, as a man, I have my certain standards of what I expect from the women in my climate. Like I said, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want that type of a hoe or that type of loose woman, and that's what you want in your household, that's what you get. That's what you bargain for. That's the kind of house you set up. But if you want a woman that has some type of value or market that's worth a damn, shit, what you setting up? You know what I'm saying? But honestly, it's a free market trade on what you choose that you want to deal with. You know what I'm saying? These dudes are trying to take hoes and put them in the home. Let that make sense. Versus you got some guys, they're getting women wholesale, and they put up a standard. If you're not with this, then you stay your ass in the streets. So
Exactly.
you already seen that one dude who jumped up on here, that Silence of the Lamb type of dude. That's the type of dude, he wants a quality woman, but he ain't got no kind of confidence to talk to a woman. You think a woman gonna give it up easy to him? Hell no. She gonna pass his ass up and sit on
Yo, BMT is a trip. I'm sorry.
and die off on his own. Like that's the same dude that be online. Oh my God, the women off here killing us. And man, shut your punk ass up. Like I mean, that's honestly what's left of this space, man. So of course, listen, man. Ain't no woman gonna give her doggone goods to that type of man. Y'all, we lost our damn mind, dog. Like you don't want that type of man representing us. I mean, we want men, but we also want quality women. But see, those type of quality women, they running over those type of dudes, and that gives them the power to act the way they act. If you a man, you say, "Yo, you ain't gonna be like that around me. You gonna put some damn clothes on." She like, "Oh snap!" Like, shit, I might need to shape up. But if that's the type of dude that wants to command a woman, then I mean they're gonna walk over him. They're gonna sniff the weakness out of him. Like, I mean, we gotta be real about this shit. You got these type of dudes coming around these spaces, man.
Some backbone.
No backbone, but they want to be looked at as men. The women can only do what the men allow them to do.
Exactly.
You don't women around you, their asses out on the curb. Simple.
That's their balls and backbone vibranium.
BMT.
And can I say this real quick, Sister Joyce? Can I piggyback up?
Let me hold on one second. Let me just thank Corner Store Podcast for the super stick or for the super chat. He says he or she says great conversation. Thank you. Black Wizard says Black culture tends to lean towards sexual promiscuity. Men get off easy because it's accepted by most that men will sleep around. I think women have trouble because of the Victorian nature of femininity in the West. Black Wizard, you on point. I agree wholeheartedly.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I can't see who was next. It's either Edward or I think Archer dropped down.
Before I go,
let me be the next.
Hey, I just want to say this. Hey,
let me get some of this.
BMT.
I just want to say before I go, the reason why the birth rate is dropping down low is because of we have these alternate family marriages and stuff. I just watched 2 ladies get married. How the hell are 2 women gonna make a baby? Let that make sense. Or all these
they do it all the time.
They do it all the
They're
time.
gonna adopt one.
You have women having babies by themselves.
You see what I'm saying? Like, how does that make any sense? That's why y'all wonder why the birth rates are dropping low, because we accepting that as the norm now. That doesn't even make any sense. So no wonder why the birth rate going low. We seeing 2 kids trying to get married. How 2 dudes gonna make a baby? Let that make sense. You can't make
That's a good point. But let me read this super chat.
This is why I didn't let everybody come up at once. We
gotta go. I wasn't trying to cause no chaos. Ladies. But I'm just being for real. This is what we're dealing with.
Well, let me read the super chat really quickly. We got to talk one at a time because we can't hear and it sounds horrible on the playback when we talk over one another. But we got a super chat from Sir Ty. Sir Ty says you can't conflate sexual liberty to sexual trafficking. That said, as mentioned, women are easy to the men they find attractive. Happy New Year. Thank you. We appreciate you. We're going to hear from Edward Bailey, and then we'll hear from
what's up, yo?
ARC and David Johnson. Hey, Edward.
Hey, the thing about the Black girls being easy, it depends on the it factor, the lust factor, and the attraction factor. Now, if you don't have no balls and backbone and no manhood or no problem masculinity about yourself, and then can't bring that inner raw femininity out of that woman, then she's not going to be easy. She's going to be hard to get to. If you come off like a Carlton Banks instead of coming off like a Shaft, you might as well hang it up and call it a night.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. Boys and girls make babies. Men and women raise families.
Okay. I think I wholeheartedly agree with that. Shout out to BMT for the super sticker. Thank you so much, BMT. I want to get Brown Bird, ARC, and then Archer and David. David was actually here because Archer left, but
Brown Bird already went.
Okay, so let's get ARC and then David and then Archer.
Wait, Brown Bird is not going next?
No, it's on you.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I see. What's up?
All right. Well, hello to the panel. Happy New Year. I want to try to narrow my comments down to 3 things. Point 1, I think it was Sister George said something as the live stream was starting. It could have been kind of creepy, but here's what a lot of men don't like to hear. A lot of men don't like to hear about their own hypocrisy. For example, and again, one of you two ladies either said this or alluded to it. There's a lot of men who bitch and complain about there's too many women in society that is highly promiscuous, but most of the men who are criticizing women for being promiscuous are always pursuing women for short-term non-monogamous casual sex. Make that fucking make sense.
Facts.
That's just a matter of fact. I used to, as most people know, I used to write for O'Shea Duke Jackson's website called the Negro Manosphere.
Right.
.com, and I wrote at least 8 to 10 of my articles. Of all the articles I wrote, caused a lot of people to get triggered. But definitely one of my top 2 to 3 articles was an article I wrote basically about this. It was about the hypocrisy of men, and all men was in the comment section, all Alan, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But they don't want to face up to that fact. It's like you criticizing people for being alcoholics, but you on the corner with a bunch of little glasses in your hand and you pouring liquor for everybody. But yet you saying everybody's an alcoholic. Motherfucker, what you doing? So all men, if you got a problem with women being promiscuous, only relegate yourself to long-term, strictly monogamous relationships. Because if you're regularly pursuing casual sex, you're an enabler. Period. Number 2, I want to get rid of this myth. I keep hearing it. It's a misnomer that women give up sex, more specifically casual sex, based on simply how attracted they are to you. That's not 100% true. That's not 100% true. It depends on what they want from you. Is more so the issue, more so than just simply their level of it. Now, their level of attractiveness does play a factor, but that's not the only thing. Casual sex, without getting too lengthy, comes down to this. It's just like men. Really, for all you men, you got to think of women just like us. We always talk about the differences, but I break it down in a couple of my books. I learned this in college from some women I was in a sorority. They broke it when the first ones to break it down to me. Now, women have their delineations of men, just like us men. There's some women we could say, damn, she's fine. I want her to be my wife. And then there's another woman we might say that's equally fine. We say, damn, she's fine. I want to fuck her for the next 2 months. It's the difference. It ain't solely about one woman being significantly more attractive than the other, but as some women, we want, basically in simple terms, we want both their sexual and non-sexual companionship, whereas other women, we just want their sexual companionship. Same with women. If the number one time a woman's going to be the most likely to be easy with you is when all she wants is your dick. She don't really want no money from you. She don't want your non-sexual companionship. All she wants is some good dick. All the women who gave me the pussy the quickest and the easiest were the women that all they wanted from me was some good dick.
But it's because they went out visible, though, right?
Levels of the D and levels of the P.
Don't y'all do that.
The women who wanted my sexual companionship and my non-sexual companionship, they never made it easy for me to get the pussy. They, at least not initially. Some of them might caved in later on, but none of those women who wanted both my sexual and my non-sexual companionship made it incredibly easy for me to fuck them. Again, the main women that made it easy for me to fuck them, I'll say it goes with all guys, is when women just look at you as casual sex material, good dick material.
I wholeheartedly agree. Right,
that's a gem. Tell them.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I've actually made the same argument earlier this week. Shout out to Platinum Elite. But I actually made the same point on his show. Women will make a man wait if she wants more out of him versus her knowing that she only wants sex from him. And men don't seem to understand the premise of if she wants to be with me, why should I have to wait versus her being a slut with some guy that she would just give it up to him right off the bat, but she's actually making me put in the work for it, which a lot of men don't understand that logic. But Shout out to DJ Cadillac. He says, I'm not mad. I get head now. More head now than ever. Oh, I hope you're wearing. Never mind, Chad.
Okay,
Yo, can I jump in?
I'll turn over the mic.
Hold on, let's let ARC finish his point.
Yeah, the final point is kind of related to the second point. Is I heard, I think it was the guy D. I don't even want to say a username, D's Nuts, but D's Nuts. What he was trying to get across, he didn't totally articulate it well, but what he said was valid, and this is the basis for my first book. Is the concept of sexual duplicity. Women, both men and women can be sexually duplicitous. I tend to emphasize more women, but men and women. And in simple terms, what that means is that a woman can make it very easy for one guy. One guy can get that pussy like an hour after he meets her. Another guy, he might not get that pussy until 6 months, if at all. So nobody can ever say that all women, or more specifically, all black women are easy. Because, like, I know for a fact, I've had sex with women very quickly and easily that other men who dealt with that same woman had to invest. Matter of fact, Sister George, I don't know if you caught this, but when I was on your last live stream, you actually kind of shut ARC up for like at least a few seconds, which is hard to do. But how do you think you shut me up for a few seconds?
You know, I have so many gems, ARC. I just, it's just so hard to keep up with them. So you just tell me.
If anybody listened to Sister George Concrete Rose, was actually more so Sister George's exclusive. I didn't see Concrete Rose on about the rotation thing. But there was a brief subject about, can women give valid dating advice to men? And I said, generally speaking, no. Because I said one of the problems I have with women who give men advice is it always involves men having to invest a lot of time and money to get the pussy. And I basically said I've rarely, for casual sex, invested a lot of time and money for sex. And then Sister George came quickly and said, well, ARC, with all due respect, that's you though. You got that. You might have that special talent where you could get a woman's pussy in like 20 minutes after you. But she was like, that's not all men though. Some men don't have to invest more time and money into that. And I was momentarily quiet when she said that because it was the truth. Some men, they go, oh, that's the reason why you have delineations. Like I was looking at the comment section in your last live stream. I forget the guy's name. He's been on here before. But he was trying to say there is no alpha, beta, and there's no delineations between men and women. That's not true. That's the reason why you have most of my delineations and most men's delineations are related to that concept itself. Is that some men are going to be able to get pussy quicker, easier, less expensively than other men will. And you can't group those two groups of men together. There has to be a delineation. If I'm able to meet a woman, let's say call her Linda Johnson, if I'm able to meet Linda Johnson and fuck her 20 minutes after I meet her, and another guy has to take her out on 10 dates, buy a bunch of gifts, talk to her on the phone for a number of hours, how can you group that guy in with me? You can't. He ain't on my level.
Facts.
So anyway, that's my thoughts for this.
Shout out to Darren Jones. Darren says he disagrees. It is not enabling to recognize that a woman is not your wife. And so, Darren, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, it sounds like you're saying that you can understand that you're going to use a woman for sexual purposes and basically like a masturbation vessel, but you can say that she's a masturbation vessel, but she's not a woman that you would actually take serious. And so I guess, are you saying that there should be some separation between, like, you should just be able to have sex with women that aren't your wives? But I kind of look at that like, men will say that y'all understand that there are some women that you're going to want to sleep with, but then there are some women that you don't want a wife. But the majority of men complain about women that they can't wife up because they're saying there's a shortage of women that can actually be wifed up. So I always kind of wonder about that. Can I address
that right quick? Can I address
Sure.
that?
What?
Sure.
What I mean, what
Go
ARC,
ahead,
or what
Archer, and then
ARC
we'll
said
have
about the
David Johnson.
hypocrisy about what ARC said about the hypocrisy of men and women is completely false. I mean, if most of the women nowadays are seeking hookups, not really seeking relationships, and you're in a man and you're in that environment where all the women around you just want short-term flings, you will be a goddamn fool to be interacting with the women on a long-term mindset, because you will always find yourself disappointed. Because at the end of the day, if you're thinking I want a long-term relationship and she's thinking I just want to, I just want you to fuck me a couple times, as a man, you're a fool for going in that situation expecting anything more than just get fucked a couple times by the girl. So when you say, oh well, the guys are enabling the women because the guys are looking at it from a short-term aspect as well, while also talking about it. Well, they're talking about it because the women are openly saying they don't want no long-term relationship. Most of the young women nowadays do not have any interest in long-term relationships.
That's not true.
Well, it depends on
I
the
don't
age
think so either.
generations too. It depends on the generations too. Because you
That's a
find
misnomer, Archer.
okay.
Women have resigned to short-term casual sex because of the lack of interest that men have shown in engaging in long-term mating.
That's cap. That's cap.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
that's cap as hell, because see, we have this notion that men are just, especially black men, are just some bad people when they don't not want to find. Black men are the biggest simps in America.
Say that.
No, I know you didn't say that. I'm saying the overall stereotype of black men in the society. But black men are the biggest simps in America. They worship their women as far as wanting to be in relationships, wanting to be married more than the women do. The women are the ones who don't. The women are the ones, for the most part, do not
have their cake and eat it too. It's
black men are the more okay.
We really don't have a
stand.
standard. No, we really don't have standards.
Let me. I'm not even done. I never get to finish when I come on here.
Okay,
everybody interrupts me.
I just want to say this really quick, Archer.
I know I tick people off, and I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to say it politely.
Thank you, Archer, for being a better person this year.
You know what happened to me on New Year's? You know what happened to me on New Year's? I found Jesus.
It's about time, child. Praise God.
Okay.
Won't he do it? Getting somebody to commit to you does not mean that they're going to be monogamous. So yes, black men will enter into a relationship with you, but young black guys want to have to take it either too a lot of the time. So they may be.
Why you gotta do it?
Oh my God! Wait! Can I finish? Okay, can I?
Go ahead, Archer. Finish your point.
Okay, the monogamous thing is BS. If you were worth being loyal to, guys would be loyal to you. If you're getting cheated on, it's because you're not worth it. First of all, facts. Second of all, when it comes to the fact about
the peace pipe.
I was smoking some good weed and drinking some liquor, some gin. But when it comes to the fact about young people not having sex today, young people not having babies today. What was the other thing you guys said about young people aren't doing today? They're not having sex. They're not having babies. Well, I'm gonna go with those.
I think you said they're not dating.
They're not dating either. And yeah. So when it comes to that, I think there's one thing that connects all three of those things: the sex, the babies, and the dating. And I think it's the health crisis in America. As of right now, more not just black, but all Americans, but more so for black people, we have a lot of women who can't have babies or will have complications in giving birth because of their health issues. We have a lot of men who's not taking care of themselves.
Wrong race.
So that, wrong race. Okay, whatever. So the health issues of many of the women, especially with the morbidly obese, being morbidly obese, complicates birth. Black women have the highest stillborns. So, and being morbidly obese complicates your ability to have sex with a man. Because I ain't freaking no fat chick. I'm pretty sure most men ain't either. So
yeah, but most black women are not morbidly obese.
Yeah,
we're not even gonna go there.
20% are morbidly obese. 57%.
But yeah. So even if you broke it down, so the 20% that are morbidly obese, those 20% are having babies.
Getting it either.
They don't have a problem with getting it, but they're not birthing out children the same way that regularly obese women are having children.
I got 30 more seconds. Let me finish, and you guys can eat me up. I understand. I'm used to it. Okay, yeah. The reason why a lot of men complain about, in my opinion, the reason why a lot of men complain about women being promiscuous, even though many of them may not be, because many of them are too unattractive to even get sex, I believe it has more to do with the fact that the women that are attractive in an environment where they are such a rare commodity is basically supply and demand. they monopolize and they what's that word? They capitalize on their sexuality. So since there's so few 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s in Black America, and there's a big gap, and then there's a whole bunch of 4s, 3s, and 2s. You got the more attractive ones are getting all the attention, therefore they're having higher body counts, and that's what guys are typically complaining about.
Yeah,
Archer,
so full of it. Everything he said, this whole commentary was just so full of BS. Like, you think that there were, like 20 years ago, there were unattractive women too. I don't think that the ratio of unattractive Black women to attractive Black women has shifted.
Yeah, well, as there's more fat women.
Now, wait a minute. I have to agree with Archer on that. Simply looking at the girls in high school versus what they look like back in the day, the girls are actually much bigger than they've ever been. And so I would have the opposite.
Like the girls in my daughter's high school would look like strippers, and they dress like strippers, and they have a ton of weave and makeup and look grown. You think that you're walking into Magic City?
Yeah,
well, that's your daughter. She's still in high school, therefore they don't count at this moment. We're talking about millennials and older.
No, she's not in high school.
Well,
but
even
anyway,
if she's not, that might have been her class.
Let me read these super chats. Shout out to Just My 4 Cents. He said the thought of biracial traits out trump confidence, swag, money, stuff together, looks, etc., etc. Thank you so much for that. That's an interesting point, very interesting point. And shout out to our brother Platinum Elite for the super chat. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. Really appreciate it.
Archer says so much. Like, I literally should have had a pen and paper, like, regarding that.
You're so triggered.
Also, I just want to say one thing, and then I'm gonna let bro David Johnson get in here. The fact that he refuses to believe that it's a conscious choice that Black women have made to not have children. It's everything else under the sun. It's because they fat. It's because they unattractive. It's because they can't have kids. It's because, as opposed to him believing that women are making a conscious decision to not relive what their mothers went through or their grandmothers went through. Like that just he can't even fathom that being a possibility. Go ahead, David Johnson. Sorry.
Holla at your boy. I get money.
What the hell?
I'm all ready to turn this mother up. No. You know I'm ignorant. First of all, I came up to address them. Can men tell women how to be women? I'm gonna get to that, but I wanted to address what ARC had just said. Salute to everybody. Salute to ARC. I was gonna say, because he changed it in the end. I was gonna say, because there are scenarios, but I'm quite sure he was talking the overall majority versus not the minority. So I'm gonna just be smart and say that for him early. But just for the people out there listening, definitely, you can definitely get a woman to do something with you early on when you meet her, and end up spending a few years with her. I've done it. I've had chicks where I told a chick, look, if she don't do it, I'm out. And she did it. And we did it the next day. And then we was together for a few years. The only time women typically hold out is for 3 reasons. They hold out because she's trying to manipulate you. They hold out because in some cases they feel like if you get that, you win. And some hold out because they just weren't raised that way. They're like that with every dude. They don't let nobody get it. So those 3 things matter. Now, here's the key thing, fellas, for y'all listening. If you want to be able to get her to do it quick and keep her, you tend to have to be pretty decent looking and charming. If there's any 2 traits that are going to seal that deal for you, it's going to be being decent looking, in shape, handsome, groomed, and having some charm and a sense of humor. Laugh her out them goddamn draws. Then she'll feel I feel so comfortable with you. She'll feel comfortable with you, and then she'll come on out of it, and she wants to be with you, especially if you good. After you put it down, she like, shit, I'm trying to keep this. But I just wanted to say that because I know that that's the exception. Now I'm going to get back to, can a man teach a woman how to be a woman? Here's the problem. Of course, this is context. There's certain things a man doesn't teach, and he can, because he can learn from a woman. This is what I'm about to say. He can teach you he can tell you about your monthly and not really how you do it, but cleaning, and because he could learn that from a woman. So there are things that women are definitely for that aren't really up to the men, even though men can learn. Because this is what I'm going to say. When it comes to a woman dealing with a man. It's a man's job, aka her father, her uncle, her grandfather. It's their job to teach her what to do and not to do with a man. So in regards to a man teaching a woman how to be a woman for a man, he can. Just like, and it's going to seem unfair. First, take off the learning that you've been taught that black men ain't ish. First of all, take that thinking or put that brainwashing thinking cap to the side and put on this is why black men are so very important, even though we don't like to give them credit, because that's a strategy to keep your race down, because we need an underclass. So we have to keep you disillusioned. We have to keep you all frantic because we have to knock down your leadership. But make no mistake, your father preps this girl to be able to deal with a man. And then he also preps the son. See, this is the gift of the father. He does both. He also teaches the son how to be a man. So here's the thing the father does teach the daughters and the sons. Now, make no mistake, women only know how to deal with men if a man taught her. There is no, see, that's the difference. See, people think just because we're gender, everything is equal. That's another dumbass thought process of people. Black men and women aren't equal. We do different shit. So it doesn't make sense to say we're 50-50. That's a goddamn lie. Stop lying to yourself. So at the end of the day, here's a thing that men can do both of: teaching a boy how to be a man, and teaching a woman how to deal with the man, which is being feminine. The reason why I know femininity is important is because I know what I need. I know what makes me be able to rock. So I can tell my daughter or daughters or somebody else's daughter, look, babe, you just too rough. You too masculine. It ain't enough. It's just a reason why the car has one steering wheel, baby. Both of you can't drive and he can't drive. If there's two steering wheels in the car, y'all gonna have a goddamn accident because you're gonna want to go left. He gonna want to go right. We ain't gonna never be able to get no goddamn where. So these are the things a father teaches the daughter, and this is another reason why, and I know they're gonna take this out of context. This is another reason why fathers typically are supposed to want to meet the man. The Bad Boys 2 scene with Will and Martin. A father needs to enter. I need to see if you are trained as a man, has your father and your family did their job to see if you qualify to date my daughter. Because I put a lot of work into this girl, and I can't just give her to any old nigga. So I'm gonna need to come talk to you, ask you a few questions, see where your head at, and then I'll be like, okay, now let me have a talk with you, and I might be able to trust you with my hard work I've been putting in. So again, coming back full circle, ladies, take that. We're all the same. If a man can't put that bullshit aside, that's what you've been trained to think. And if you disagree with what I'm saying, that's how you know you're just being combative. Because what I said is really 2 + 2. This ain't even rocket science. Y'all got it.
Thank you, bro, David Johnson. I typically agree with you. Your principles are pretty sound, even though your delivery sometimes can be off, but I agree with what you said, like wholeheartedly.
Hey, let me address that. Wait, let me address that. Let me show you how full of shit that is too. If I brought you $15 million in an ugly suitcase, would you say, no, I don't want that because you brought that ugly ass suitcase, get that goddamn money out of here? Or would you be smart enough to overlook the suitcase to take the goddamn cash? Check.
Of course I would. That's why I can receive your message despite your delivery. You on point. I agree with you.
When you're smart, listen. My message is only for the smart people anyway. Dummies need not apply. Y'all got it.
Oh my gosh, you're so arrogant.
Hey, Sister George, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does somebody get butthurt in the film of life?
Yeah, I want to go back to that super chat or comment where I think the brother's name was Darren Jones, said he's not enabling if he identifies that a woman is not wife material for him. See, here's the thing. There's a difference between being selective and judgmental. Selective and judgmental. The simple difference is if I interact with a woman and based on my evaluation with her, I say this woman is not fit to be my wife because of my specific criteria and standards, then that's being selective. But using that same example, if I evaluate a woman based on 1, 2, or 3 social interactions, and not only do I say that I don't think she's wife material for me, but I say I don't think she's wife material for any guy on earth. Then you've gone from being selective to judgmental. And that's my attitude with this promiscuity thing. And I pointed out on a few videos on my own channel. A lot of guys think if a woman has slept with, say, 10 guys or 20 guys or even 30 guys, that woman is not fit for any man. That's bullshit. There's porn stars who are fucking married. Facts.
Can I respond to that?
Some men don't mind a woman's promiscuous past. You can't apply your criteria to all men. I don't mind any man having criteria for himself. I don't have any argument or criticism of that at all. But when you try to impose your criteria for what makes a woman wife material to every heterosexual man on earth, then yeah, I have a problem with that. Because you pass the judgment that you don't really have the position to do that.
Jojo, your response?
Thank you, ARC. We gonna have Black Wizard go ahead and chime in real quick, and then after we do JoJo, we'll go back and do Miss J and go back around because he hasn't had an opportunity to speak. If you can hold it for just a second while Black Wizard gets his piece in JoJo, and then we come into you.
He can respond real quick. I can go after him.
All right.
JoJo.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what I'm saying, ARC, what's going on with you, OG? You know what I'm saying?
What's up, young brother?
Nothing much. Now this is why I'm having to respectfully disagree with you, OG. Check this out.
Okay.
See, I look at it like this. As a certain type of man, I feel like your judgment, if you're a certain type of man, you have good judgment. So let's say what you said was the case and the girl got 40, 50, 60 bodies or something like that, right? She don't respect men, she don't submit to men, she don't do this, that. It's just ended to be, you know what I'm saying, the exact opposite of what a man wants.
Before you go on, Joe, somebody got some background noise going on. Okay.
But yeah, it's just like, so let's say me or you, we in the store, right, and we see a girl and we know she got 150 bodies on her, and she masculine, unsubmissive, and just, you know, I'm just all around terrible person. If me and you both come to the conclusion, you are OG and I'm young, if we both come to the conclusion that damn, she gonna have a hard time finding a dude, or she probably gonna die alone. I don't think that's an inaccurate statement to make that judgment, because this is what you got to think. Men are starting to wake up more and more now, and they starting to see women's behavior. It don't matter if you old, young, you know what I mean, or middle age. Don't no dude want a broad that's a headache, regardless of if she had a past or not. Let's say you a dude with a high tolerance level, and you know what I mean, you can try to deal with it. At the end of the day, you still gonna say, damn, why the fuck am I still talking to this girl? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying, but it's just like, I feel like if somebody who intelligent have a strong opinion on something that they know 9 times out of 10 they right about it, I feel like we can make that assumption. Like, for example,
okay, go ahead. Go finish.
Okay, let's say Cardi B got divorced from Offset or whatever, right? Would you say that girl would be wife material? I would.
Any woman can be wife material for any man who accepts her as is. Now, I'm not in favor of any woman lying or deceiving a man, so let's use promiscuity. If you have a woman that slept with 100 guys in her adult life, and she meets a guy named Brian, and he asks her, you know, questions about her past, and she tries to give Brian the misleading impression that she's only had sex with, say, 10 guys in her life. See, then that's a lying bitch. She's being deceptive. I ain't down with that. So women like that need to be called out. But let's say on the other hand, you got a woman that also has slept with 100 guys, and she makes that openly known, and some guy named Todd says, you know what? I'm fine with that. I love you. I'm attracted to you, and I'm willing. Why should anybody pass judgment on Todd or the woman he chose if he's down with that? If he's down with that, marriage ain't about there's this that's kind of like an old pre-60s convention that only would see. I don't want to get too long-winded, but I did a whole video on this. Is why you had what most young people should know, but a lot of them don't. There's a period that was known as the Victorian era. started in Europe. And that was what the Victorian era was all about. Victorian era started when a lot of uppity, pretentious type women basically came out in Europe and said that if a woman is not a virgin, she's not wife material. If she's not a virgin, she's not wife material. That's why if you know the traditions of weddings, a white dress was supposed to represent that woman was a virgin. Mm-hmm. Like in the Victorian era, if you had fucked even one time before you got married, you weren't allowed to wear a white dress. You weren't allowed to because you were tainted. And see, now let's fast forward to the second wave of feminism at its highest gear in the 1960s. A lot of this is in my book, The Beta Male Revolution. Had to give myself a shameless plug. But in the second wave of feminism, you can say in simplistic terms, a lot of women kind of took revenge on that attitude from the Victorian era. A lot of women was like, fuck these uppity, pretentious bitches who say that if you're not a virgin, you're not wife material. Fuck that. I fucked 20 guys and I still think I'm worthy of being some man's wife. And that's,
can I say this quick response?
That promoted in the early to mid 60s was that even women who have fucked before marriage, basically women who are not virgins, still can be qualified to be wife material. And here we are.
Let me respond to this real quick.
Nobody's not wife material. Again, if you're talking about for yourself, I have no problem with that. Any man who says that woman over there is not wife material for me will get no argument from me. But when guys start trying to say that this woman is not only not wife material for me, but she's not wife material for any guy, that's bullshit.
That's cap. I'm gonna tell you why that's cap.
Everybody.
Right.
Let me say this real quick.
And hold on.
This is the thing. Baby, let me say this real quick. Let me say real quick. Let me say this real quick. All right, so Mr. ARC, this is the thing. Check this out, OG. And I know Sister Joy is gonna back me on this. This is the thing. You know, I know you know what microcamerism and all that prayer binding and all that stuff is. Now we could say, you know what I mean? Oh, that's BS and all this. It's a scientific fact. The DNA of whatever man the girl with, his DNA going to her brain and it sits there. She developed his characteristics, his behavior, his personality, all type. This is a statistical fact. You can Google it. You can do it. You can YouTube. You can do whatever you want with it. Now, this is the thing. I'm gonna say this. Sister Joy said earlier, it's porn star women. When you look at their faces, how they look now, they got like they got a soulless look in their eyes. Now you hear dudes say this all the time. That's the 1,000 cock stare. A bitch, you done been with so many dudes, you done lost your ability to, you know what I mean, to just purr with one dude because you know too many men. And if we being straight up, I feel the same. Just what you said about the virgin thing earlier. I do feel like there should be qualifications for a wife. It just is what it is. And you can say it's in a new time and stuff like this, but men have to really think. If you gave them, because this is my thing. If you gave a man the option to say, okay, here go a 20-year-old girl. She the purest of the pure, ain't never been touched. And you say, here go a 22-year-old. She look better than the girl who ain't got, you know what I'm saying, who ain't never been touched. But the bitch got 200 bodies. I guarantee you, 100 times out of 100, the man will say, give me the girl who ain't been with no man to see the prayer body. He not gonna say, give me the broad who difficult to deal with, bad attitude, been 200-300 dudes, done felt every single penis. Yeah, man, it's like, come on, we got to start being honest with it. Now I get what you saying. The man will get with that, but if we been honest, he's settling for that because he can't get something better. That got to be said. That got to be said.
Yo, you saying some stuff that's valid to a degree. But my problem is it's one-sided, man. So you telling me you like a lot of these guys who believe, like I hear a lot of guys who say, hey, if a woman had sex with 50 guys, then she's unfit to be a wife. But a man, he can have sex with 2,000 women and he fit to be a husband. No, he ain't.
Men and women not equal though. That's why you messing it up. You trying to conflate it and make it equal. It's not equal. Men and women not the same.
No, but JoJo,
a key that can open.
That's where you lost me, man. That's where you lost me. That's what I'm saying.
A key that can open many locks is a master key. A lock that can be opened by
any don't matter for a man. You lost me right there.
I want to hear ARC's response to that because now, if we're being honest, ARC, most people don't look as men and women as being equal, especially when it comes down to sex. We've heard it for years that men can go out and sleep with however many they want. Nobody calls a man a hoe. Nobody looks at a man as a sexual deviant unless he has like freaky fetishes and shit like that.
Wait. Let me stop you there, Sister George. You said nobody I've been called a man whore so many times.
Yeah,
same here. I've been called the same thing.
So it's not that men are not called hoes, it's that men don't respond negatively and emotionally when they are. That's the difference. It ain't I've had a lot of women say, Alan, I'm my own mother. And I'm getting personal here, but my own mother, I told my wife when I first met her. One of the most hurtful comments, I laughed about it later, but at the time it kind of hurt me. When I was in my mid-20s, my mother, I was going to go out and hook up with this chick, and she stopped me. She said, son, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean, what am I doing? She said, for the last few months, there's not been one woman you've connected with that you've introduced to me, which tells me she's just, her term for hoe was a bed hopper. She said, which tells me you just mess around with bed hoppers. And I said, yeah, you could say that, Mom. And but she just gave me this pensive stare for a few seconds. Then she said, I never thought my baby boy was just going to grow up and be a damn hoe.
The whole thing is, let me just say this. It's not the same connotation as when a woman is called a hoe. And I'm not going to necessarily say that doors closed for women who are whores or who consider themselves whores, but let's be honest. Society views a woman as a hoe versus a man that is sexually promiscuous as two different things. It's not viewed as the same.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Exactly.
I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons, actually. I'll highlight two. One reason is because women, and this is why my talk, which is one of my talk modes that gets ripped off a lot. You always hear me talking about the appeal of sexual companionship versus the appeal of a man or woman's non-sexual companionship. See, women place way more value on particularly if they aspire to be married, they place way more value on the appeal of their non-sexual companionship. And this is why a hoe is very hurtful to a woman. Once a woman gains a reputation as a slut or a hoe, the message that sends out to men is her non-sexual companionship ain't worth shit. She's not worth investing for her non-sexual companionship. All fellas, all you need to do is concentrate on getting access to her sexual companionship, because her non-sexual companionship don't mean shit. And no woman who aspires to be married wants that message sent out about her. Men don't really give a fuck.
And
let me say men started.
Black Wizard wanted to go next.
Let me just say something right quick for JoJo.
Really quickly, and I know Bro David has.
There are women for the nothing ass men. You gotta understand. Some of them nothing ass men are gonna have to deal with some of them hoes. So, like ARC said, or OG man, there's somebody for everybody, because everybody's not gonna get the dime. Everybody's not gonna get the man. So you gotta always remember that those women may have to go to those men, so they both serve a purpose. Y'all got it.
I just wanted to say really quickly, I think that men are the ones who start, like we live in a patriarchal society. If you think about it, if you think about our the beginning of our civilization, it started as patriarchal. I think that men started the whole shaming of women when they are not fitting into a certain mold. I don't think that women started that. That is a
no. That's not true. That's not true. Do your research, Concrete. Because actually, I read an article a few years ago. I can't cite it specifically right now, but then I've read other that backs this up. I was just talking about the Victorian era. A lot of women centuries ago used to call other women whores and sluts more frequently than men in society did.
But where does that come
from? Particularly women from upper class society, pretentious society, they always turn their nose down at women. Because here was the fear. See, a lot of women in aristocratic societies, they felt like they didn't want their older husbands dumping them for a younger bitch. And so they developed all these judgmental attitudes, and they would say things about younger women to try to dissuade their wealthy, powerful husbands from fucking around. But you had courtesans, which is the old version of what we now call like upscale call girl, upscale escort, you know. But anyway, I don't want to get too long-winded digression, but a lot of women were just as judgmental, if not more so, on other women's promiscuity. Again, that was the whole basis for the Victorian era. Women felt like
from them women
they didn't
having
want
favor with men. You can't like
Say that
look
again.
at those women to sit in judgment. It was because somehow they had favor by being prude and being, you know, considered like upstanding women in society. They had favor with men in order for them to sit in judgment of other women.
Yeah, here's a book I'll always recommend it on my channel that you guys should read if you're not familiar with it already. It's called Marriage, A History by an author named Stephanie Kuntz. And if I had to highlight a couple of takeaways from that book that most people don't realize, some people act like monogamy, long-term strict monogamy, has been around since the beginning of time. And that's actually false. The idea of long-term strict monogamy, according to Kuntz and a few other authors on her level, have asserted long-term strict monogamy has only been around for about roughly 4,500 to 5,000 years. Now, on paper, that sounds like a long time. But when you consider that humans have been around for a minimum of 200,000 years, that's a drop in the bucket. In the early stages, a lot of men and women were engaging in either one of these three things: promiscuity, polyamory, or polygamy.
Still happening in some countries.
Yeah. Promiscuity, polyamory. Polyamory is kind of the unmarried version of polygamy. Or like in the United States, polygamy is interesting. In the United States, on a federal level, polygamy is actually legal. But what neutralizes that is that all 50 individual states have made it illegal. Now, Utah used to be the one holdout. At least in certain counties of Utah, polygamy, I want to say, used to be legal, but I want to say they've now made it illegal too. But yeah, all 50 states have made it illegal. But anyway, going back to Kuhn's takeaway, she said basically the two things that made long-term monogamy become more popular is one, men, because you got to realize before the days, now we got like DNA, and before that they had the blood test. But before both of those came into existence, men wanted to make sure that their kids were really theirs. So they felt like having a committed relationship would ensure that. And we all know now in the 21st century, that don't ensure shit. A woman can say, "Oh, Henry, I love you, and I only want to have your children," and then the next day she out fucking another motherfucker getting pregnant by him. On a side note, and maybe this could be another whole live stream. On a quick side note, I don't want to digress too lengthy, but I've been seeing a lot of people on social media giving this movie on Amazon a lot of props called Sylvia's Love. Anybody see that movie?
No.
Everybody like, no. Well, anyway, it got a lot of high critics rating. It was a black movie featuring Kerry Washington's husband. And anyway, if you really watch that movie, and I told my wife, I was disturbed by elements of that movie. Because number one, it glorified women cheating. If that movie had been written in reverse, women would have been protesting that movie. It's about Tessa Thompson. She's cheating on her fiance. Then on top of just cheating on him, she got pregnant by this other dude, which essentially made her fiance a cuckold. He accepted it, though. He knew the baby was from another dude. He married her anyway. And everybody said that was a great movie. I didn't like the messages sent out, so that was my quick side note on that.
We'll probably see more examples of that, but I wanted to read the super chat real quick from Black Wolf. He says, "Salute to ARC for that jewel of thought. He got that from experience." I'm not sure
I get all my stuff from
experience
and not other people listen to other people. But okay, yeah, I just want one other talking point. I was gonna say, one addition to the takeaway from that book. One was paternity, another one was property. See, there was a time when people were constantly moving. But once they became more stable and wanted to accumulate real estate and property, men wanted a way to transfer their property and all their assets in the event of an unexpected death. And that contributed more to both marriage and idea of long-term monogamy. So basically what Kuntz argues in overly simplistic terms is that before paternity became a big issue, because, in some cultures, it was not uncommon for like a warrior type dude to get a woman pregnant, but then have the more beta male guys in his tribe take care of his son or daughter because he was out being a warrior. He wasn't at the crib like, throwing his babies up in the air because he was out fighting, trying to protect that community. So they would have the beta males and women. So it was shared. Parental responsibilities in many cultures and countries was shared. But then again, a lot of guys over a period of time started saying, hey, I ain't sure if little JoJo is really mine. I want to make sure that little JoJo is mine. And they say, hey, well, why don't you marry the woman then?
It ain't my baby.
It takes a village. That brings a new meaning to the term. It takes a village, but we got to get Black Wizard in here. But I wanted to read the super chat real quick, and I'll let Black Wizard go because we skipped over him a while back. So, Sinnend Landreth says, a woman either believes in only having relations with her husband or she doesn't. The marriage will get old. What keeps her faithful is her principles. The data says virgin marriages last longer. Never seen that.
Exactly.
Data, that's interesting.
Uh-oh.
Black Wizard, go ahead, and then we're gonna have Brother Platt come on in here and Dennis.
Black Wizard, here's your big moment.
He may be busy, but
sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
My bad. So yeah, I'll try to keep this short because I had a lot of stuff to say because everybody kept going. I was like, oh, that's a good point, but I can feel the backlash from what I'm about to say already. But I think everybody will agree that our culture is broken. Black culture is broken because of slavery. There's a lot of cultural ideas that have been transmitted from slavery and never really put into check. And those cultural ideas have transmitted down to us through like a group consciousness. And that's what makes us Black people, is because we all adhere to that cultural consciousness of the Black idea. So when we hear about these, like, I think one of the things that our culture emphasizes is sex. Like, our culture just emphasizes sex. It's been a thing since slavery, and it's been culturally transmitted since then. And just like ARC was saying about the Victorian era, there was an era once, I think it was during the Reconstruction era, or maybe right before it, as they were about to release, slaves into the population, that there was a cultural idea from the Victorian era that was taken and brought over here called the angel in the house. And that's something I learned about from Dr. or the Green Gorilla. So shout out to him. But basically the angel in the house is what everybody refers to as femininity here in the West, like very very docile, submissive, always in the house, homemaker, virgin, and pure. And they made that, and they transmitted that cultural idea through white society because, they wanted to protect who they considered their women from Black men. When we are a culture within a culture, though, so we have our matriarchal kind of culture inside of the larger patriarchal America, and it's like they go by these rules of the, we all do because we're all American. We go by this rule, this Victorian kind of rule that says, that defines femininity. So while both of our genders are put under both of our genders are subjected to the cultural, sexuality that, that we all go through, men aren't held to the same kind of scrutiny as women, even through over sexuality, because women have the cultural stereotype to remain pure. I mean, there's other things that go into that, as other guy was talking about with genetics through, through insemination and things like that. But for the most, Yeah, but for the most part, the cultural idea that women remain pure comes from that Victorian era here in the United States. So women receive a lot more scrutiny than men because men are expected to be sexually, they're expected to get as much sex as they can get, as women are supposed to hold out. So the more sex that a man can get is seen as, okay, that's just what he's supposed to do. But the women get more scrutinized because of that. So I say that to say that I don't think Black women are easy. I think that our culture leans toward promiscuity, and women just catch a lot of heat from it.
Can I say one thing? Is that cool with y'all?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Blake Quasar, I'm gonna say this too, bro, because you left this out. We got to stop using the slavery thing, because this is the thing, bro. I think it was during the 1960s, 65. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you had I think it was you had Black people. It's like actually the highest marriage rate, I think, in the country or whatever. I may be wrong, but another thing too. This is the thing. We still leaving out science and biology. It's a man's biological imperative to do that. A woman can only have one kid at a time, whereas one man can have goddamn 300-400 kids. That's why you hear these stories about one dude got 32 kids with 15 women. Like it's a biological imperative for that.
Here's what I want to say to that.
Listen, I love using that as an excuse, as if
and that's what I was going to go into.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
No, let me speak to that real quick, because I'll start with the biological imperative thing. The biological, I'm not saying that science refutes that, because it's obvious that for the male animal of the male mammal of a species, that reproduction, or even most species, reproduction as far as he can take it, is the imperative of that of an animal in the material world, and we are animals. The only difference is that idea that blames science for your decisions rules out your ability to choose. It undermines it. So,
but ain't that what you did with the slavery argument?
No, and I'll get to that next.
No, it's context.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, when you say, so for instance, I hear a lot of the time that people say the reason why men cheat is because it's our biological imperative to reproduce, and to remain monogamous is a illogical idea. Well, with that being said, that rules out the idea that you have the ability to make a choice. So your ability to make a choice comes into factor here, and that makes you different than an animal that just acts on reaction.
Yeah, you guys about free will when you talk about.
And see, Jojo, that's what I was alluding to earlier.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
What about the fact that women outnumber men, and some women, it's not enough seats for every woman to have a man to herself? That's nature. How do you stop that? How do you go around that?
Exactly.
What do you mean?
But what I'm saying is, the co-sign with what Black Wizard said.
Every woman, there's not enough rods for every woman to sit on, so they're going to have to share. How do you get around that? That's nature.
Here's the thing: is that David Johnson who's talking?
Yeah, that's me. That's me. RC, go ahead.
Yeah, Brother Johnson. Here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with men sharing women or women sharing men, as long as they upfront and straightforwardly honest about it. But when it comes to the concept of cheating, though, and this is where Black Wizard made a good point, a lot of guys want to act like cheating is some kind of biological imperative. No, it's not. No, it's not. Cheating involves lying.
I was going to say the lying part, right?
There's
a difference than being in a polygamous or polyamorous relationship. If you're in a polygamous or polyamorous relationship, your partners know that you're going to be fucking multiple women, and they've accepted it. They down. I have no problem with that. But for motherfuckers to try to justify cheating by saying, well, like I heard men literally on panels and live streams saying, well, man, we were born to cheat. No man was fucking born to cheat.
Yeah.
Now, can I say this?
Let me
respond real quick. Let me respond real quick.
Hold on one moment, because you asked me another question.
Let Black Wizard finish, because we still got to get Platt in here and Dennis too.
Right. So I'll just leave that as where it is for now, because you asked me another question about slavery and if that undermines what I was saying about freedom of choice. No, because you both have the ability to choose and are programmed by your environment. So
that means we can't use their argument then, right?
No, because
that's not making sense, bro. You can't say you can't say I'm gonna use this as an example for why we behave this way, and then say we got our own choice to not behave this way. But then at the same time saying what the example I just used don't matter. It don't affect why we act this way. That's contradiction, bro.
You have to let me finish.
Go ahead.
So when I said with cheating, you have a choice. To say that your biological imperative forces you to cheat is to say that you have no choice. Is to take the freedom of to choose completely out of the equation. What I'm saying is you have both of the things are coming into play. And to act as if one or the other does not exist is unrealistic. So both of them exist. You have the freedom.
But I was talking about the slavery thing, not that, bro.
Yeah, and let me get to that. So you have the freedom to choose, and you're programmed by the environment. So the environment, which programs all of our unconscious decisions, lead us to, kind of in our experiences or as our experiences go along, tell us how to survive in the environment that we're in. What we generally tend to do is identify with the memories of our past through the programming, and then hold strongly to that as if that is the only thing that matters. When in reality, there is something larger where you have the ability to choose or not choose whether or not you listen to those past memories and experiences. So a lot of people.
Yeah, but he'll never finish if you keep interrupting. He'll never finish.
This is all I want to say. So what you just said, the environment and what you see dictates your behavior or a certain outcome. So with that being said, slavery was really long time ago. Look at the history books. We don't know what that. All we know is what we read in books. So you can't say. We still cannot use that as an explanation for why people act the way they do today. You weren't there to experience it. You just read about it. What happened with a slave on the farm is not an excuse to say why black men and black women act the way they do towards each other today. Now I get what you're gonna say about the women listening and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me just finish.
Hold on, Jojo.
Joe.
We want Black Wizard to finish his point, because we have people on the panel who haven't had an opportunity to speak yet, and then we'll come back to this discussion. So I don't want to go too far off from the last question that you asked him. So we'll let Black Wizard respond, and then we're gonna get Platt in here.
My bad, Joe.
So to understand how human beings live in society, you have to understand how our mind absorbs information. When our mind absorbs information, our mind absorbs information through narratives or through stories. That's why the Bible has been around for so long, because we absorb things through narratives. That's how we program. That's our written history is so important. What I'm saying is the cultural behaviors of slavery was never addressed, and when they're not addressed, they go dormant. So they're still transmitted from person to person, as though the reality still exists. But since there's no conscious awareness of why or when or how we're doing things, we act on those behaviors unconsciously. So the ideas that I'm talking about are transmitted from person to person.